Hey guys, what's up, and welcome back to Tank Talks with Batchat. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming T57 Heavy, the line that goes from the T71, I believe, to the T69, and then on to the T54E1, and then finally into the T57 Heavy, the American Tier 10 Heavy tank, which is actually an autoloader as well. It sparked a little bit of controversy because of how well this autoloader specifically does in PC comparatively. Rosso's going to show us how that works here in just a little while, but while we're getting into the battle a little bit on this match on Lakeville, I'm going to just tell you a few things that have been going on lately. I have gotten a new job, whatnot, trying to sell shoes now, which will be quite interesting, and might take a little bit of my time away from making videos, however short the time is at the moment. College is amping up towards midterms as we come along, and might be a little bit more difficult during the holidays like Thanksgiving. I don't know if all of you celebrate that, but that comes around. We get a pretty long weekend for that, so I'll try to have something out for you by then. But as for the T57 Heavy, the tank has the highest DPM for Tier 10 for a heavy tank. It carries a 120mm autoloader, 4 shells, takes about 1.8 seconds, or almost 2 seconds to get between each shell. Has a 21-second reload, around that mark, and pumps out the shells rather fast as compared to the 50B, which is the Tier 10 French heavy tank, which is also an autoloader, which takes 27 seconds to reload its mag. The 57 Heavy is a quite fantastic tank. It's a lot slower than the 50B. Reaches about max speed about 35, maybe 40 if you have the right stuff on it. It's got some trollish armor though, which the 50B can't actually claim. And you can see here there's the power of the 120mm autoloader as it chews through this T54 in 3 shots. And then puts... No, actually he doesn't. He saves the last shot. And the IS-7 takes his chances and bluffs one into the ground, and Rosso is feeling a bit overwhelmed here. And with the 57 Heavy, during that reload, you can feel quite overwhelmed. And this is what I think is a problem. If they're going to drop the mag down to 3 shells and blitz, shouldn't the reload go down as well? Because of how helpless you're going to feel against these kind of tanks, which is a much more fast-paced game. And whilst you're reloading with this tank, you can be overwhelmed quite easily, which is the one downside, I believe, to the 57 Heavy. But it can produce moments of magic, like absolutely wrecking this T62. He only got the chance to put in 1 shell, while we put out, it looks like 1,200 damage into him. Which is just a really fantastic way of saying that the T57 Heavy can be overpowered and can have good bounces, but in the hands of the correct players, it can do games like this, and it can give you quite a bit of damage. It's actually pretty fantastic, the amount of damage that he gets in this game. That ammo rack only helps to solidify that. An IS-7 rolls around the corner, bumps him a little bit. Rosso is putting himself in a good position where his back is to his team, and he's going to quickly get out of there, having traded 2 shells for 1 against the IS-7. And as you can see, that armor is paying off. The armor at the front is much like a T110E5, but it's not quite as strong. The real weakness with the 57 Heavy is its really different turret. It's got the traditional autoloader turret, which is the 2 parts to 1, and practically the side cheeks of the turret are the weakest part. If they're flat against you, you can fire right through them with any kind of round you've got. Now, Tier 8s might need some kind of premium to get through it on PC, but seeing as you don't see Tier 8s on Blitz, there's no real issue with that. And Rosso is taking his chances, thinking that the IS-7 is going to come around this corner on Lakeville. He has no real threat to the right besides an unspotted E100 and an unspotted Object 140. But he is guessing that the IS-7 will try to be tricky and try to surprise him over here. As far as his team goes, his team's been doing fairly well since they saw that LTTB early on in the game. And Rosso guessed correctly. And you can see the really good penetration power of the T57 Heavy and the Trollish armor again as he bounces another good shot from the IS-7. But that's not saying too much because the IS-7 doesn't have fantastic penetration. Rosso finishes him off quite easily, trading one shot to give him at least 6 in return. And we see that great reload that he has on it. 22.8 something seconds, it looks like. Forgive me if I don't see it correctly. The numbers are a little bit small right now. But even though, that's 1400-ish damage in about 20 seconds. Every 20 seconds, that's almost confirmed damage. Now, this Object 140 just finds himself in the wrong place. He's going to give nowhere near what he's going to receive. He's going to pay for being so reckless. And Rosso's going to be cheeky and end that off with an ammo rack. Now, the vigilant of you will have saw the E100 sneaking up on Rosso, and being an American heavy tank, he has that really weak back armor. So he's playing his chances right now, thinking that the E100 isn't there. And he really is. Now, the E100's a lot like the IS-7 in the DPM department, seeing as they both don't have good high penetration guns. And Rosso is down to just a few AP shells left, and he's firing mostly heat for this E100. He's put one clip into him, but you're going to see when people start firing premium ammo at this tier, the T57 Heavy doesn't have anything like armor. It really doesn't. He bounces another AP shell off the front, and Rosso is just trying to bide his time, keep his front to the E100, and hope the E100 will bounce off his well-angled turret sides. E100's doing a very miserable job of armor angling right now, but as you can see, he puts a really, really big heat shell in to the front of the 57 Heavy. And you don't even need to aim at that point. 330 is going to go right through the turret front like it's nothing. But if he was in an AMX-50B, he wouldn't have bounced any of those shells, whether it be AP or not. AMX-50B has a very, very weak turret, but it's very fast. Weighs quite a bit, can do a lot of ramming damage. But as far as the 57 Heavy goes, do you guys think that they should really take out the 4-shot autoloader in favor of a 3-shot autoloader? I'm not entirely sure myself. Seeing games like this makes me think they should. But at the same time, if they did do that, would you want them to decrease the reload time from 22 to, say, 16? Because the 57 Heavy is quite vulnerable in those moments. As you can see, if that E100 had really taken his time and aimed, he probably could have gone right through the turret sides. But alas, he didn't. But this is just a very lucky game for Rosso. So the real question is, if we kept 4 shells, should we increase the reload, decrease the penetration? I'm curious to know what you guys think. Personally, I think we should keep the 4-shot autoloader. I think we should maybe decrease the pen a little bit on the tank. The AP rounds have something like 250 some, maybe nearing 260, I can't quite remember correctly. But seeing as this thing has one of the highest DPMs in the game, shouldn't it not phase it too much? Because it's really a surprise tank. It's meant to take a shot and trade better than the other tank. I mean, think about it. What other tank does 1400-ish damage in the space of the amount of time that this thing does? You can only think of like incredible TDs with that. As far as this goes, if we do decrease the reload with the 3-shot autoloader, perhaps maybe we should also buff the armor a little bit. It really is quite an interesting idea, and I'm sure that they're going to have the same problema when it comes to the Batchat and the French lines, because these autoloaders can dish out a serious amount of damage in a very short amount of time. I mean, hell, the Batchat has a 105mm autoloader that can do 400-ish damage with 5 shells. I mean, it's crazy. The real, I guess, balancing factor in these autoloaders is the fact that they're weak, but the 57 Heavy actually has some measure of armor. However, flawed it may be. There's quite a lot of questions that come to my mind with this tank, but as you can see, it does have incredible moments of brilliance, driven by a really great player. We're down to the last few tanks on the team. A T95 and what looks like an ISU, it says. So Rosso's racked up quite a bit of damage, as you can see there in the corner, 11,500. Done an incredible amount in such a short amount of time, really. And truly, if this was blitzed, this beats something like 7,000 or something. Absolute crazy damage. And if we nerf the 57 Heavy to 3 shells, would it really struggle that much? I can see it really having some issues if it has no cover, but if you're a smart player, you're usually playing from cover or from an advantage. It's quite a dilemma. At this point, our team is pushing forward, what's left of them, a TVP BTU Tier 8 Czechoslovakian tank, and the Jagdtiger 8.8, the Premium Tier 8 tank, against a ISU, never mind, against a very low health T95. You'll get the chance to see some of the penetration on this gun, as he is down to his last clip, only 3 shells in the clip of AP standard ammo. The Jagdtiger's got a little bit too much exposed there, and he's going to pay for it in just a second. Now, this is the Jagdtiger's fault for not moving back, but he did pay for it. T95 with that really good 150mm gun, and this is AP rounds going through the very bottom of 1895, which surprised me quite a bit. I was actually quite surprised Rosso didn't put a shell into the dirt in order to get a Faden's medal, but as you can see, he gets a mastery, he gets Top Gun, he gets high caliber, he gets tank sniper, he gets a whole crazy ton of medals, and he gets 12,000 damage. Congrats, Rosso, and I want to know what you guys think of the T57 Heavy. Whether it needs a 3-shot autoloader, a 4-shot, whether you would change the reload or not, buff the armor. I just want to know what you guys think, and I want to know if you're excited, looking forward to this new line. Well, tankers, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Batchat out.